In August 2007, I deployed to Afghanistan. My job in the Air Force was explosive ordnance disposal technician. On December 6, 2007, we did an overnight mission. I was leading a team of 2 other younger EOD technicians from the Air Force. And then the next morning, we got a call that there was an IED across town. I felt fairly confident that the device was safe enough to approach by hand. So I put on the bomb suit, which is the big green, protective suit. I pull it out by hand from the road. At that time, we noticed it was like a hoax device, is what they call it. It was basically a fake device to either watch our actions or to get people on scene to cause an attack. I walked back down scene to clear the area before we turn it over to the public. And while I was looking in the culvert, I was kind of on my hands and knees and a detonation occurred. And I was immediately thrown from all fours to up in the air and then on my back. I knew my leg was hurt. I knew my arm was hurt. They put me on a stretcher, pulled me out of the culvert. A helicopter came shortly after and picked me up and took me to base. That was a 30-minute helicopter ride and put me on the operating table, and I talked with the surgeons there, and then I woke up in Germany, 6 or 8 hours later, a surgery later, and missing my leg and my arm's all bandaged up.
I was in Vietnam and evacuated 22,000 from the area in Da Nang, where I was the surgeon in charge. I've seen people make fabulous recoveries, and I've also seen those who didn't.
The essential ingredient is this notion of surgeon, nurse, OR tech, everybody who is in that moment is fully dedicated, fully focused to doing their professional best to rescue a bad situation.
Care in the 21st century is about team. There's no individual who can handle all of the necessities there are for someone recovering, particularly from a serious injury like Adam had.
At the time of my injury on December 7th, I had surgery on that day. Flown to Germany, was there for 4 days and had 2 surgeries. Then flown to Walter Reed, arrived on December 10th and had surgeries basically 2 or 3 days a week until the end of December, beginning of January.
Everybody who comes to a hospital or to a clinic is terrified.
There is lack of understanding. There is stress that these patients and families are going through. This takes individualization, and it takes time, and it takes a sensitivity.
The physical therapist, occupational therapist, the surgeons, just coming into the room and really treating you as a person, and this is the plan specific to you, and doing that as a team made me feel anyway like they're invested in you, and this is how we're going to get you there.
Patients don't come to us as a gallbladder or a heart failure. They come to us as a person.
We have an enormous opportunity to try and understand every individual patient and their goals.
Frequently when people are sick, they think they're the only ones that this has ever happened to. And we find that by putting people together in groups, that they get group therapy from it.
What helped me most kind of wrap my head around what was going on was being at Walter Reed around so many other people who were like me. I was offered a trip to ski in Vail, Colorado with an organization from the hospital. And then shortly after, I went on a bike ride. My first few weeks at Walter Reed, I would have never thought that was possible ever, let alone within 3 months.
Not only do we put things in place for them, but we also have really understood and guided them to other sources that give them a sense of belonging and community among like patients and families.
It was these opportunities early on that really set the stage for later in life. After I left Walter Reed, I became involved in an organization that throughout the year I would take other injured service members on these recreational activities, and we would put a team together and do a relay race. Then I think on the 3rd or 4th year, we couldn't find a runner. So talked to my prosthetist, said, hey, I want to try running again. And he said, okay, let's do it. In the span of 19 months, I went from having horrible cardio, Not being able to run a few hundred feet, to running a half marathon faster than I'd ever run, to doing a marathon that I'd never done previously, to doing a 100-mile race that, no other above-knee amputee had done. You'll never know your breaking point unless you push yourself to it and then maybe fail. So I'm still trying to find it.
These are the moments that our team members live for, is to be there, to have the opportunity to move in and make a profound difference in somebody's health and their life.
You have to have a fundamental belief that excellence is part of your institutional commitment to never being satisfied. It's not just saying we're going to be the best at safety or we're going to be the best innovative hospital. We really have to think about how we're going to be the best in all of these.
Excellence is never an accident. It is a journey. You're never as good as you want to be. And the only way that you can begin to understand excellence is to measure. And you have to measure year after year, and you have to be transparent about it. And it's a stepwise process. And you take all these little steps, and suddenly you've got a big change.
The patient's recovery and potential in the rest of their life moving forward is almost dependent on the care they receive early on. To see that they're so invested in you makes you want to put in the effort as well as a patient to not only not let them down, but not let yourself down.